Greetings, dear brothers and sisters in Christ. When we look at today's readings, we see in the first reading God being angry with Solomon. And why is this so? It says in the first reading that Solomon grew old with his wives. He swayed his heart to other gods. Yes, brothers and sisters, Solomon swayed his heart to other gods. Now, what does this mean to be swaying to other gods? Yes, in the Old Testament reading, we can see that Solomon actually built temples and he built all sorts of things in honor of different gods, the goddess of Sidonians and of Milcom, the Ammonite, and so on. And God saw this as an abomination. He decided to destroy the descendants of Solomon. But then God takes mercy on him. God remembers his covenant to the people of Israel, and he says that he will spare one tribe. He will leave your son one tribe. Now, this is the mercy of God, dear brothers and sisters in Christ. Regardless of how unfaithful Solomon had been, God did not have the heart to destroy Israel, to destroy Jerusalem, to destroy the people of God. He remembered his covenant with Abraham and his promises to all the people who had been journeying together in faithfulness, though at many times they were not faithful enough to the call of God. Now, in the gospel, we see another scenario. We see a woman, a Syro-Phoenician woman who had a daughter who was actually possessed by the devil. Now, she came to Jesus and she was insistent that the daughter should be healed. Now, even though Jesus seems to be, in one look, it looks like Jesus was very sarcastic that, that he will not give something which belongs to the house people to dogs. But the lady seems to answer. The lady seems to answer that even the children should be fed first, but because it is not fair to take the children's food, throw it to the house dog as Jesus spoke. Okay, she replied, but the house dogs under the table can eat the children's scraps. Yes, dear brothers and sisters, even though Jesus' statement seemed so sarcastic, the woman stood in steadfastness to trust in this Jesus whom she was seeing there, whom she was having faith in. And she was brave enough to tell that even house dogs deserve the scraps that fall from the table. Now we can see a difference between the character which we see in Old Testament, the person of Solomon. He was not faithful to the call of God. But in the gospel, we see this Syro-Phoenician, even though she was not one of the called people of God, even though Jesus considered not to be the children of Israel, but she kept her faith, she kept her trust, she kept all that she wanted into the eyes of Jesus. She was hoping it from Jesus himself. So, dear brothers and sisters, now these events which took place in the Old Testament as well as in the Gospel brings us to ask ourselves, how faithful have we been to the call of God? Like Solomon, have we been in search of other gods? Other gods need not necessarily mean building temples and statues and worshipping other anything that is not God himself. But it could mean we giving importance to anything else in our life other than God himself and his will for us in our life. To what extent have we not been faithful enough to the call of God in our life? And to what extent have we not held a steadfast faith, a steadfast hope in Jesus himself, like the Syro-Phoenician woman? Now, today is a call for us to think about ourselves, our faithfulness. Let us remember that God is always faithful. He is always faithful to his covenant. He is always faithful and he will always love us. He will always show compassion to us. But it is we who very frequently break from our part of the covenant to live as he wants us to live, to have a steadfast faith in him, to do whatever he tells us to do. So let us today reinstate this faithfulness in Jesus Christ, to go about seeking what He wants us to do in our life and to remain faithful to that. Thank you, and God bless you.